I speak 12 languages, she whispers. The Mafia boss laughs, loud, mocking, cruel. His men join in, their voices bouncing off gold-trimmed walls like bullets ricocheting in an empty chamber. But 6 weeks later, his empire lies in ashes. His allies vanish. His accounts freeze. His name becomes a warning whispered in back alleys from Brooklyn to Berlin. And the girl who served him wine? She's the reason why. This is her story. Manhattan bleeds neon tonight. Rain hammers the windows of Il Trionfo, an Italian restaurant where men in $1,000 suits discuss things that never make the news. Inside, crystal chandeliers cast shadows that dance like ghosts. The air smells of aged wine, cigar smoke, and expensive cologne masking cheaper secrets. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Keisha Novick moves between tables like water flowing around stones. Silent, necessary, invisible. 25 years old. Dark hair pulled tight. Eyes that notice everything but reveal nothing. She balances trays with the precision of someone who learned long ago that mistakes cost more than broken plates. The other servers whisper about her. Eastern European accent. They say, lives alone above a laundromat on 9th Avenue. Never takes tips over $10, no matter who offers. Never late. Never complains. Never speaks unless spoken to. They don't know she understands every conversation in this restaurant. Every language. Every lie. Tonight, the marble backroom glows with tension. A private dinner. The manager's hands shake when he assigns her to serve it. Just be invisible, he says. Don't listen. Don't look. Don't remember. She nods, but remembering is all she does. The door to the backroom stands open just enough. Through it, she sees him, Don Vittor Mancini, head of the Mancini family. 73 years old, but carved from granite and grudges. His suit costs more than most people earn in 6 months. His smile never reaches his eyes, which are the color of dirty ice. Around him sit men whose names appear in FBI files but never court documents. And across from him, a guest from overseas. Dark skin, sharp cheekbones, expensive watch. The kind of man who negotiates with briefcases full of things that explode. Keisha lifts her tray. Vintage Burlo. Silver dishes. Her heart beats steady, trained. She enters the room. 12 pairs of eyes flicker toward her, then away. She's furniture. Scenery. Nothing. Don Vittor's voice cuts through cigar smoke. They sent a mouse to serve lions. Laughter erupts. Deep. Male. Territorial. Keisha sets down plates without a word. Her hands don't shake. Her face stays blank. The overseas guest, Adam Nasser, according to the reservation book, mutters something in Arabic. His tone drips contempt. Overpriced wine and foolish Americans. They think money buys respect. Keisha pauses. Every instinct screams, stay silent. But 6 years of searching for answers. 6 years of dead ends and closed doors. 6 years of being invisible while rage burns beneath her skin like coals. She replies in flawless Arabic, voice soft as falling snow. The wine may be overpriced, sir, but it's not foolish to know what power tastes like. The room freezes. Forks stop midair. Glasses hover at lips. Even the cigar smoke seems to still. Don Vittor's eyebrows rise slowly, like curtains opening on stage. You speak Arabic? Keisha meets his gaze. Among others. How many others? His voice carries amusement now, but underneath it, something colder. Calculation. 12. The table explodes with laughter, louder this time, disbelieving. Men slap the table. One wipes tears from his eyes. Vittor leans back in his chair, grinning like a wolf who just spotted prey, pretending to be a rabbit. 12 languages? Madonna. You're wasted here, ragazza. Maybe I should hire you to translate my enemy's dying words. More laughter. Roaring. Cruel. Keisha bows slightly and turns to leave. But as she reaches the door, she catches it in the mirror above the bar. Vittor's expression shifts. The laughter dies in his eyes first, before his mouth. He stares at her retreating back. Recognition flickers across his face like lightning before storm. She doesn't see the way his fingers drum the table. Once. Twice. the way his jaw tightens, the way he leans toward his right-hand man and whispers something that makes the man's face go pale. She doesn't see him pull out his phone and type a name into a search engine. Her name, or rather, the name she used to have before she learned that some truths require lies to survive. Because somewhere in Vitor's memory, a file exists. A photograph. A linguist who knew too much and disappeared 6 years ago. A linguist named Alexander Novik. And the girl who just spoke 12 languages in his private dining room looks exactly like him. What would you do if your skills made you a target instead of an asset? Drop a comment below. The dishes clatter in the kitchen sink, but Keisha's hands stay steady. Around her, the staff rushes through the dinner rush, shouting orders, cursing burned fingers, laughing at jokes she doesn't hear. She scrubs a wine glass until it squeaks. Her reflection warps in the curved crystal. For a moment, she sees her father's face instead of her own. Same dark eyes, same sharp cheekbones, same ability to disappear into any crowd by speaking their language. Table 7 needs water, the manager barks. Keisha nods and lifts a pitcher. Ice cubes clink against glass like teeth chattering. The dining room hums with Manhattan energy. Designers discussing fashion week. Lawyers celebrating a settlement. A couple on a first date that's going badly. Normal people. Normal problems. Then her phone vibrates in her apron pocket. Once. Twice. 3 times. She shouldn't check it during a shift. But her hands move anyway, pulling it out just enough to see the screen. Unknown number. The message is short. Backroom. Now. VM. Her throat tightens. VM. Vitor Mancini. She deletes the message. Returns the phone to her pocket. Continues walking between tables like nothing happened. But her mind races. He never contacts servers directly. Never. The restaurant manager handles all communication with private clients. Unless. Keisha. The manager appears beside her. Face pale, sweat beading his upper lip. Don Mancini requests your presence. Backroom. He says he has a proposal. The water pitcher suddenly feels heavy as concrete. Now. Her voice comes out steady. Good. 5 minutes. Clean yourself up first. He glances at her apron, spotted with wine stains, flour dust. Look professional. She nods and heads to the staff bathroom. Inside, she stares at the mirror. Same face that's gotten her through 6 years of searching. 6 years of dead ends in 12 different countries, asking questions in 12 different languages, always hitting walls built by men like Vitor. Men who erase people. She washes her hands, adjusts her hair, removes the apron and smooths down her black dress. Simple, modest, forgettable. Except she's not forgettable anymore. The backroom door stands open now. Inside, the dinner guests have vanished. Only Vitor remains, sitting at the head of the table like a king on a throne made of mahogany and money. Beside him, 2 men in dark suits. Not lieutenants. Bodyguards. Keisha steps inside. The door clicks shut behind her. Vitor gestures to the chair across from him. Sit. She sits. He pours 2 glasses of whiskey. Expensive, amber, probably older than she is. Slides one across the table. Drink. I don't drink on shift. You're not on shift anymore. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Consider this a job interview. Her pulse quickens, but she keeps her face neutral. For what position? Translator. He sips his whiskey, studying her over the rim. I have business associates who speak many languages. Russian, Mandarin, Arabic, Italian, obviously. I need someone I can trust to communicate accurately. No mistakes. No creative interpretations. You have translators already. I have employees who translate. But you? He leans forward. You speak 12 languages. That's not education. That's survival. And people who survive are useful to me. The room feels smaller suddenly. Warmer. The bodyguards shift their weight, hands resting near concealed weapons. Keisha meets Vitor's gaze. What's the pet? $10,000. One evening's work. He slides an envelope across the table. Tomorrow night. Private meeting. Penthouse overlooking the Hudson. You translate. You leave. Simple. Her fingers itch to open the envelope. $10,000 would cover 3 months of rent. private investigators, bribes in Eastern Europe where her father's trail went cold. But nothing with Vittor Mancini is simple. Why me, she asks. You don't know me. His smile widens, and for the first time, it touches his eyes. Not with warmth, with something worse. Recognition. Oh, I'm learning about you, Keisha Novik. He pronounces her name slowly, deliberately. Or should I say, Keisha Alexandrova, daughter of Alexander Novik, the linguist who disappeared in Prague 6 years ago while working for, what was it, a cultural exchange program? The world tilts. She forces herself to breathe. My father taught languages at university. He died in a car accident. Is that what they told you? Vittor chuckles. Low, dark, devoid of humor. Interesting. Because my records show something different. They show a man who translated sensitive documents for people who don't like sensitive documents to exist. A man who saw too much, knew too much. Her hands clench beneath the table. If you're trying to scare me, I'm trying to hire you. He stands, buttoning his jacket. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Address is in the envelope. Bring your skills. Leave your questions at home. He walks toward the door, bodyguards flanking him like shadows. Then he pauses, turns. Oh, and Keisha, your father had a gift for languages. But his real talent? Knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. I suggest you learn from his example. The door closes. She sits alone in the empty back room, the envelope heavy in her hands, her father's name echoing in her skull like a gunshot. Outside, thunder rolls across Manhattan. Rain hammers harder against the windows. And somewhere in the darkness, a decision crystallizes in her mind. Dangerous, necessary, inevitable. She opens the envelope. Inside, 10 $100 bills. A business card with an address. And underneath, folded small, a photograph. Her breath stops. The photo is grainy, surveillance quality. But she'd recognize that face anywhere. Her father, alive, tied to a chair in a concrete room. His face bruised, his clothes torn, his eyes staring at the camera with an expression she's never seen before. Terror. The timestamp at the bottom reads, 3 years ago. If you discovered your missing father was alive, but trapped, would you walk into the lion's den to find him? Let us know in the comments. Keisha doesn't sleep that night. She sits on her apartment floor, one room above Wong's laundromat, where detergent and dampness seep through the walls, and stares at the photograph until her eyes burn. 3 years ago. Her father was alive 3 years ago. She'd searched Prague, Budapest, Vienna, bribing clerks, questioning embassy workers, visiting morgues where unclaimed bodies waited for names. Everyone said the same thing. Car accident, closed case, move on. But they lied. Rain drums against the single window. Neon from the Chinese restaurant across the street bleeds red and gold through thin curtains. Somewhere below, a couple argues in Spanish about money. A siren wails past. Keisha spreads the contents of the envelope on the floor. Money, business card, photograph, and something else she hadn't noticed before. A small marking on the back of the photo. Barely visible. A symbol drawn in pencil. A circle with 3 lines radiating outward. She's seen it before. Years ago, in her father's notebook. He said it was a linguist's joke. A symbol meaning message hidden in plain sight. Her laptop sits on the windowsill, password protected, filled with 6 years of research. She opens it and searches her archived files. 15 minutes later, she finds it. Her father's old lecture notes on cryptography and language. The best secrets hide in translation, he'd written. Change one word, shift one meaning, and entire messages disappear to everyone except those who know how to listen. She examines the photograph again, this time looking past her father's face to the background. Concrete walls, exposed pipes, a small window, high up, showing nothing but darkness. But on the wall behind him, barely visible, graffiti, Meridian 47. Her heart hammers. She opens a new search window and types. Meridian 47, Eastern Europe. Nothing. She tries. Meridian Project Prague. Nothing. Then, Meridian Mancini. Her screen floods with results, but all in Italian, Russian, German. She reads through them, translating in her head. Shipping companies. Real estate holdings. a pharmaceutical company in Switzerland. And then, buried in a German business registry from 4 years ago, Meridian Holdings AG, Zurich, CO. Victor Mancini. Vittor's son. She screenshots everything, saves it to an encrypted folder, then clears her browser history. Her hands shake now, not from fear, but from something sharper. Purpose. Tomorrow night, she'll walk into Vittor's penthouse. She'll translate his conversations. She'll smile and nod and stay invisible. But she'll also be recording every word. Il Trionfo closes at 11. By 11:30, the staff has scattered into the night, taking subways home, lighting cigarettes, complaining about tips. Keisha stays behind, offering to help clean the private backroom. The manager, exhausted and grateful, accepts without question. She works alone. The backroom still smells of cigars and expensive wine. She wipes down tables, empties ashtrays, collects forgotten napkins. Normal cleanup. Routine. Then she sees it, under the chair where Adam Nasser sat. A flash drive. Small, black, unmarked. She freezes, looks toward the door. The manager's office light is off. The kitchen staff has left. She's alone. Her fingers close around the drive. It's warm, as if recently dropped, or recently planted. She shoves it into her pocket and finishes cleaning quickly. Dumps the trash. Locks the backroom. Says goodnight to the night security guard, who barely looks up from his phone. Outside, Manhattan swallows her whole. Crowds and noise and anonymity. She walks 12 blocks before allowing herself to breathe. Back in her apartment, she inserts the flash drive into her laptop. Her antivirus software scans it, clean. She opens the files. Scan contracts, bank transfers, encrypted emails with broken subjects, shipment delayed, payment confirmed, problem resolved. Nothing unusual for organized crime. Nothing she didn't expect. Then she opens a folder labeled Personnel. Inside, photographs. Dozens of them. Men in suits, women in offices, security personnel. And at the bottom, her father's face. Not the surveillance photo from the envelope. This one is different. Professional. Like a passport photo. Attached to a document written in Italian. Alexander Novik, linguist, contracted via Meridian Holdings, status, retained, location, facility 12. Retained, not killed, not missing. Retained, meaning he's still alive. Meaning Vittor has kept him for 6 years. Meaning everything. The car accident story, the closed embassies, the dead ends, was designed to make her stop searching. She reads further. The document lists his assignments, translating financial documents, interpreting conversations, verifying coded messages in 7 different languages. At the bottom, a note in English. Subject demonstrates continued value. Recommend extended retention. Family contact prohibited. Family contact prohibited. They've known about her this whole time. They've watched her search. They've let her suffer. Her hands curl into fists. The laptop screen blurs. Then a new window pops up, a video file, auto-playing. The screen shows a concrete room. The same room from the photograph. Her father sits in the same chair, but this video is recent. His beard longer, his face thinner, his eyes hollow. Someone off-camera speaks in Russian. Say your name. Her father's voice, weak but steady. Alexander Novik. Tell her you're alive. Pause. Then, Keisha, if you're watching this, don't come looking for me. Please. Forget. The video cuts off. She sits in darkness, rain hammering the window, the world spinning beneath her feet. They know she found the drive. They wanted her to find it. This is a message, a warning, or a test. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number again. The message, see you tomorrow night. Dress professionally. And, Keisha, bring the drive. We'll discuss your father's employment benefits together. VM. She stares at the screen until it goes dark. Outside, thunder cracks like the world breaking open. When the people who took everything from you offer you a deal, do you take it? Or burr all down? Como bido? Morning comes gray and cold. Keisha stands in front of her closet. 6 dresses, 3 pairs of shoes, a winter coat with a broken zipper. 6 years of living small. 6 years of saving every dollar for bribes and plane tickets, and private investigators who took her money and found nothing. She chooses the black dress. Simple, professional, forgettable. Except tonight, she won't be forgettable. She sews the wire into the hem. Thin, flexible, purchased 2 years ago from a surveillance equipment shop in Queens. The microphone hides beneath the fabric, invisible unless someone knows exactly where to look. The recording device fits into a false lining in her purse, no bigger than a lipstick tube. Her hands work steadily, threading needle through cloth with the precision her grandmother taught her in Minsk, back when Keisha was 7 and the world still made sense. Always know how to mend things, her grandmother had said. Clothes, hearts, broken promises. A woman who can repair what's torn will never be helpless. Keisha bites off the thread and tests the wire. Secure. She packs her purse, wallet, keys, phone, pepper spray, a small knife her father gave her before he disappeared. Just in case, he'd said, smiling like he knew something she didn't. Maybe he did. The address leads to a building in Tribeca, glass and steel, the kind of place where doormen wear suits nicer than most people's wedding attire. She arrives at 7:45. Early, but not too early. The doorman checks his tablet, nods, and waves her toward the elevator. Penthouse. Mr. Mancini is expecting you. The elevator rises silently. 43 floors. Her ears pop. Her reflection stares back from mirrored walls, pale, composed, ready. The recording device presses against her ribs like a second heartbeat. The doors open onto a private foyer. Marble floors, abstract art worth more than her entire building. Floor-to-ceiling windows showing Manhattan glittering like scattered diamonds. Vitor stands by the window, hands clasped behind his back. He doesn't turn when she enters. You're early. Good. I value punctuality. You value control, Keisha says. Now he turns. His smile is sharp. Same thing. The penthouse sprawls open behind him. Leather furniture, a bar stocked with bottles older than she is, and a dining table where 5 men sit waiting. She recognizes 2 of them from the restaurant. The others are new. A Russian in an expensive tracksuit, a Chinese man in rimless glasses, and someone Middle Eastern whose face she's seen in international news reports about arms deals. Dangerous men. Men who make countries disappear. Gentlemen, Vitor announces, our translator has arrived. Keisha, meet our associates. Tonight, we discuss a business arrangement involving shipping routes, financial partnerships, and mutual benefit. Your job is simple. Translate accurately. No editorializing. No opinions. Just words. She nods. Understood. Good. He gestures to a chair positioned between the men. Close enough to hear, far enough to remain separate. Neutral territory. We begin. She sits. The recording device hums against her skin, activated by her pulse. The conversation starts in Italian, pleasantries, weather, Manhattan real estate. Then it shifts. Russian man speaks first, his accent thick, his words careful. The shipment from Odessa. It arrives when Vitor answers in English. 2 weeks. Customs has been managed. Keisha translates to Italian for the benefit of others at the table. Then the Chinese man speaks Mandarin. And the financial transfers? Our investors require assurance. Vitor nods at his accountant, who responds in broken Mandarin. Keisha corrects him smoothly, translating the reassurance into flawless Chinese. Back and forth. Italian to Russian. Mandarin to Arabic. English threading through like a spine. She translates everything, but she also listens for what's beneath the words. The pauses. The hesitations. The way Vitor's jaw tightens when the Russian mentions meridian. The way everyone stops talking when the word Novik slips out, spoken by the Middle Eastern man, casual like dropping a bomb, disguised as a cigarette. The Novik matter, he says in Arabic. It's resolved. Silence falls like a blade. Vitor's eyes flicker toward Keisha. Just for a second. Then back to the speaker. Resolved. Contained. Useful. The man nods. Good. Loose ends make investors nervous. Keisha translates into Italian without missing a beat. Her voice stays steady. Her hands don't shake. But inside her world tilts. Loose ends. Her father is a loose end. The meeting continues for 2 more hours. Numbers, routes, codes. She records it all, translating mechanically now, her mind elsewhere. Finally, Vitor stands. Gentlemen, we adjourn. Contracts will be finalized by Friday. Handshakes, nods. The men file out one by one, disappearing into elevators and private cars waiting 43 floors below. And it's just Keisha and Vitor. He pours 2 glasses of bourbon, slides one toward her. You did well tonight. She doesn't touch it. The drive. You wanted me to bring it. Did I? He sips his drink, amused. You left it for me to find. The video. My father. You wanted me to know. His smile fades. What I want, Keisha, is loyalty. Your father had skills. You have skills. The question is, will you use them wisely, or will you make his mistakes? What mistakes? Caring too much about the wrong things. He walks to the window, staring out at the city. Your father thought he could play both sides. Translate for me, then sell information to people who wanted to hurt me. He thought his languages made him untouchable. He turns back to her. But no one is untouchable. Everyone has leverage. Where is he? Safe. Federal alive. Which is more than he deserves. Vitor steps closer. But you? You could earn his freedom. Work for me. Translate. Travel. Use those 12 languages to help me expand operations into markets that require cultural sensitivity. And if I refuse? His expression doesn't change, but the temperature in the room drops. Then your father remains retained indefinitely. And you? He shrugs. You remain a waitress who asks too many questions. The recording device burns against her ribs. She's captured everything. The names, the deals, the confession. But confession without escape is just evidence at a funeral. She meets his eyes. How long do I have to decide? You just did. He smiles. Welcome to the family, Keisha. Don't disappoint me. Would you trade your freedom to save someone you love? Tell us in the comments. 3 days later, Keisha stands in the back room of Il Triunfo again, translating a conversation between Vitor and a German banker. The words flow smoothly. Financial terms, interest rates, offshore accounts. Standard corruption dressed in expensive vocabulary. But her mind is elsewhere. On the recording hidden in her apartment. On the copy she made and mailed to a P.O. box in Brooklyn. Addressed to someone she hasn't spoken to in 3 years. Marcus Chun, former FBI linguist. The man who trained her father. The man who disappeared from federal service after a case went wrong and someone higher up needed a scapegoat. If anyone can use the recording, it's him. She finishes translating. The banker leaves. Vitor lights a cigar and studies her through the smoke. You're distracted, he says. I'm tired. Then rest. You'll need energy. Tomorrow, we travel to Zurich. Meeting with Meridian Holdings board members. 3 languages minimum. Russian, German, and Italian. Her pulse quickens. Meridian Holdings. The company connected to her father's file. What's in Zurich? She asks. Business. He exhales smoke. And perhaps, if you perform well, information about your father's current accommodations. Bait. Obvious bait. But she takes it anyway because what choice does she have? I'll be ready. Good. He stands, straightening his cuffs. Oh, and Keisha? Pack light. We leave at 6 a.m. Private jet. No dilas. He walks out, leaving her alone in the marble room that suddenly feels like a cage with invisible bars. That night, she sits in her apartment and writes a letter. Not email, too traceable. Not text, too permanent. Just ink on paper, words that can burn. Marcus, if you're reading this, I'm either dead or worse. The recording contains everything. Names, routes, deals. Vitor Mancini, Meridian Holdings. My father is alive. Location unknown, call Facility 12. I'm flying to Zurich tomorrow. If I don't return, use this. Burn them all. Okay. She seals it, addresses it to the same Brooklyn P.O. box, and drops it in a mailbox 3 blocks away. Then she goes home and packs. The private jet smells like leather and wealth. Keisha sits across from Vitor, watching clouds blur past the window. 8 hours to Zurich. 8 hours trapped at 30,000 feet with a man who holds her father's life in his hands. Vitor works on his laptop, occasionally speaking Italian into his phone. Business. Always business. 2 hours into the flight, he closes the laptop and looks at her. Tell me about your father. She stiffens. What do you want to know? What kind of man raises a daughter to speak 12 languages? The kind who believes words build bridges. Or weapons, Vitor counters. Your father understood that. Language isn't neutral, Keisha. Every translation is a choice. Emphasize this word, soften that phrase, and meaning shifts. He was good at that. Too good. You said he betrayed you. He tried. Vitor sips whiskey from a crystal glass. He translated a document for me. A contract with a Russian petroleum company. Very lucrative. Very sensitive. But he also translated it for someone else. Someone who wanted to use the information to undercut my negotiation. Boo, doesn't matter. They're dead now. He swirls his drink. But your father? I kept him alive because he's useful, and because killing him felt wasteful. Men like him, true polyglots, not just classroom linguists, are rare. So you imprisoned him for 6 years. I employed him. He has a room, food, books. He translates documents, and in return, he breathes. Vitor leans forward. It's more than most people get for betraying me. The cabin pressure shifts. Her ears pop. Outside, the sun sets over the Atlantic, painting clouds in shades of fire. Why tell me this? Keisha asks. Because you need to understand the rules. Work for me, and you'll have access. Money, protection, information about your father. His eyes narrow. Betray me, and you'll join him. Useful, but contained. She holds his gaze. I understand. Do you? He smiles. We'll see. Zurich arrives wrapped in fog. The car from the airport winds through streets that smell like rain and chocolate. They stop at a building near Paradeplatz, stone facade, bronze doors, windows reflecting nothing. Meridian Holdings. Inside, the conference room is all glass and steel. 6 people wait. 2 Russians, 1 German, 2 Swiss bankers, and a woman in her 50s whose face Keisha recognizes from her research. Natalia Koss, Vitor's head of European operations. Vitor greets them in Italian. They respond in German. Keisha translates seamlessly, her voice calm, her mind cataloging every word. The meeting discusses shipping routes through the Black Sea, bribes paid to customs officials, and a new pharmaceutical venture that sounds legitimate until someone mentions unregulated trials in Eastern Europe. Then Natalia says something in Russian that makes everyone freeze. The Novik file needs resolution. He's been retained too long. People are asking questions. Vitor's jaw tightens. He responds in Russian. Questions from whom? Old colleagues. Intelligence contacts. Someone's been poking around Prague, asking about linguists. Keisha's heart hammers. Someone's been asking. Marcus. It has to be Marcus. Vitor glances at her. Just a flicker. Then back to Natalia. Handle it. Quietly. And the girl. She's family now. She translates. She obeys. Keisha translates everything into German for the bankers, her voice never wavering, her face a perfect mask. But inside, she's screaming, because she just heard her death sentence spoken in 3 languages. And the recording device, stitched into her dress hem, captures every word. If you realize the people you're helping plan to kill you, would you run or finish the job? Drop your answer below. The photograph slides across the polished table. Glossy, recent, unmistakable. Her father, thinner than the last image. Gray streaking his beard, but alive. His eyes stare directly at the camera with an expression she's never seen before. Resignation. Keisha's fingers hover above the photo, not quite touching, as if contact might make it disappear. 3 months old, Vitor says. His voice carries no emotion, just statement of fact. Facility 12. Outside Bratislava. He translates financial documents, legal contracts, occasionally intercepted communications from people who think encryption protects them. They're alone now. The conference room in Zurich emptied 20 minutes ago, bankers and Russians scattering into the fog like smoke. Just her and Vitor, and the truth laid bare on expensive wood. She forces herself to look up. Why show me this? Because you've earned it. He lights a cigar, the flame briefly illuminating his face. 6 days. For meetings. Perfect translations. No mistakes. No questions. He exhales smoke toward the ceiling. Your father would be proud. My father is a prisoner. Your father is an asset. Vitor taps ash into a crystal tray. There's a difference. Prisonas hort. Assets appreciate in value. He's comfortable. Federal. His mind stays sharp. Some would call that mercy. Her jaw tightens. Some would call it torture. Language again. Vitor smiles without warmth. You see? Words matter. Prisoner. Asset. Employee. Guest. All describe the same situation, but each carries different weight. He leans forward. Your father understood this. He played word games with dangerous people. Translated what suited him. Omitted what didn't. He thought his skills made him invincible. They made him valuable enough to keep alive. Exactly. Vitor stands, walking to the window. Zurich spreads below, clean streets, expensive cars, money flowing like blood through pristine veins. Which brings us to you. You're more valuable than him now. Younger. Faster. You speak languages he never learned. And you have something he lost years ago. What's that? Hunger. He turns back to her. You want something? He wanted safety. Want is sharper than fear, Keisha. Want makes people useful. She stares at the photograph. Her father's face. The timestamp in the corner. 3 months ago, but he could be dead now. Could have been dead for weeks while she translated shipping routes and pharmaceutical schemes. I want to see him, she says. Not yet. When I'm certain you won't do something stupid. Vitor returns to his seat, studying her like she's a contract he's considering signing. Your father made a mistake. He tried to serve 2 masters, translated my documents accurately, then sold information to my competitors. He thought distance protected him. Thought Europe was far enough from New York that I wouldn't care. You had him kidnapped. I had him relocated. There's a difference. I know. Her voice cuts sharp as glass. You keep saying that. But kidnapping by any other name is still kidnapping. Silence stretches between them. Outside, church bells ring the hour. 4 p.m. In New York, Illinois Triunfo would be prepping for dinner service. Servers setting tables. Wine breathing. Normal people living normal lives. Vitor's phone buzzes. He glances at it, frowns, then pockets it. We fly back tomorrow. Tonight, you stay at the hotel. Rest. Tomorrow, more work. What kind of work? A meeting in Frankfurt. Germans purchasing shipping rights through Mediterranean routes. They speak German and English, but they think in numbers. Your job is to make those numbers sound reasonable in Italian for my associates. He stands, buttoning his jacket. Car will pick you up at 7 a.m. Don't be late. He walks toward the door, then pauses. Oh, and Keisha? The recording device in your dress hem, very clever. But did you really think I wouldn't notice? Her blood turns to ice. He doesn't turn around. The microphone, the wire. I've been in this business 40 years. You think you're the first person to try recording me. Now he turns, and his smile is all teeth. I'll let you record everything. The meetings, the names, the routes. Because recordings without context are just noise. And who would believe a waitress over me? Her throat closes. Sleep well, he says. Tomorrow's a long day. The door clicks shut. She sits alone in the conference room, the photograph of her father still on the table, and realizes with crushing certainty that she's been playing chess against a grandmaster who saw every move before she made it. Her phone buzzes. Text from unknown number. Hotel room checked. Recording devices removed. Sleep tight. VM. She stares at the message until the screen goes dark. Then she picks up the photograph, folds it carefully, and slips it into her purse next to the knife her father gave her 6 years ago. Because some tools aren't for recording evidence. Some tools are for cutting through lies. When a monster knows your every move, do you quit or change the game? Share your thoughts below. The hotel bathroom mirror shows a stranger's face. Same dark eyes, same sharp cheekbones, but something behind them has shifted, hardened like metal cooled too quickly. Keisha runs cold water over her wrists. The sink is marble. The soap smells like lavender and money. Everything in Zurich smells expensive, even to fear. She checks her phone. 11:47 p.m. 3 messages from the restaurant manager asking when she'll return to work. One from her landlord about overdue rent. Nothing from Marcus Chun. The recording she mailed should have reached him by now. Unless Vitor intercepted it. Unless Marcus is already dead. Unless she's been playing a losing game from the start. She opens her laptop. The hotel Wi-Fi requires a password, which means it's monitored, which means everything she does here gets reported. But she searches anyway. Facility 12 Bratislava. Nothing. Meridian Holdings Detention Center. Nothing. Alexander Novik Linguist. 3 results, all old. A university faculty page from 8 years ago. A conference presentation on Slavic languages. An obituary from Prague that lists him as deceased from a car accident. The internet has been scrubbed clean. Like he never existed. She closes the laptop and stares at the wall. White. Blank. Hotel rooms are designed to be forgotten. Temporary spaces where nothing permanent happens. But decisions made in temporary spaces have permanent consequences. She pulls out the photograph of her father. Studies his face. The camera angles suggest he knew he was being photographed, his posture too straight, his expression too controlled. Not candid. Staged. A message. She examines the background again. Concrete walls. High window. And on the wall behind him, barely visible, numbers scratched into the stone. 47 degrees, 48 minutes north, 17 degrees, 6 minutes east. Coordinates. Her hands shake as she opens her laptop again and types the numbers into a mapping site. The screen loads slowly, painfully. Then, a location pin drops onto a map of Slovakia. Not Bratislava. 40 kilometers north. A rural area. Forest. A single road leading to nothing. The satellite image shows trees. Thick, unbroken green. But someone scratched those coordinates into a wall. Someone left a trail of breadcrumbs in a language only another linguist would recognize. Her father is telling her where he is. She screenshots the map, saves it to 3 different cloud accounts under fake names, then clears her browser history. Then she lies down on the hotel bed. Too soft, too expensive, and stares at the ceiling until exhaustion drags her under. She dreams of her father teaching her Russian when she was 9. They sat at their kitchen table in Minsk, snow falling outside, his voice patient as he corrected her pronunciation. Words are tools, he said. Some build, some destroy. Learn to tell the difference. How, she asked. Context. Listen not just to what people say, but why they say it. In the dream, his face shifts, becomes thinner, bruised. The kitchen becomes a concrete cell. His voice echoes, don't come looking for me. She wakes gasping. 4:23 nachts. Too early for pickup. Too late to sleep again. She showers, dresses, packs her single bag. The knife stays in her purse. The photograph stays folded in her wallet. At 6:58 a.m., a black Mercedes pulls up outside the hotel. The driver doesn't speak, just opens the door. She climbs in. Vitor sits in the back seat, already reading documents on his tablet. Good morning. Sleep well. Fine. Liar. He doesn't look up, but a convincing one. That's a useful skill. They drive through Zurich's empty streets. The city looks scrubbed clean. No trash, no graffiti, no evidence that real people live here. Just money and clocks and secrets buried in bank vaults. At the private airport, the jet waits. Same leather seats. Same expensive emptiness. But this time, 2 additional passengers board. Natalia Koss and a man Keisha doesn't recognize. Late 30s, athletic build, eyes that catalog everything. This is Dmitry, Vitor says. Head of security for European operations. He'll be accompanying us to Frankfurt. Dmitry nods once. Doesn't smile. Keisha's stomach tightens. Security doesn't travel unless there's a threat, or unless someone needs watching. The jet takes off smoothly. Below, Switzerland disappears into clouds. Vitor works. Natalia makes calls in Russian. Dmitry sits across from Keisha, not reading, not speaking, just watching. She pretends not to notice. Pulls out her phone and scrolls through nothing, aware of his gaze like heat on her skin. Then her phone buzzes. Text from unknown number. Receive package. Working on it. Stay alive. MC. Marcus. Her pulse quickens. She deletes the message immediately, but not before Dimitri's eyes flicker to her screen. He saw it. She knows he saw it. But he says nothing, just continues watching. The plane descends into Frankfurt through gray clouds, heavy with rain. When you're being hunted by the people you're hunting, how long can you pretend you don't notice? Comment your answer. The Frankfurt meeting happens in a warehouse that smells like diesel and old concrete. No conference rooms. No marble tables. Just metal folding chairs and men who don't bother hiding the weapons under their jackets. Keisha translates German into Italian, Italian into Russian, Russian back into German. The conversation loops between shipping manifests, customs bribes, and routes through the Mediterranean that avoid NATO patrols. But halfway through, one of the Germans mentions something that makes Vitor's expression flicker. Just for a second, but she catches it. The intelligence leak from last month, the German says. Someone passed financial documents to Interpol. Nearly cost us 3 ships and 40 million euros. Vitor's jaw tightens. That situation has been contained. Has it? The German leans forward. Because we're hearing whispers. Someone in your organization is still talking. Someone close. Silence falls like a blade. Natalia speaks in Russian. If there's a leak, we'll find it. The German responds in English. Find it fast. Or we find new partners. Keisha translates mechanically, her voice steady, her mind racing. Someone passed documents to Interpol last month. But she only mailed the recording 3 days ago. Which means someone else is leaking information. Someone inside Vitor's organization is already betraying him. And they think it's her. The meeting ends badly. No handshakes, no agreements. Just cold nods and threats wrapped in professional courtesy. Back in the car, Vitor's phone erupts with calls. He answers in Italian, his voice tight with controlled rage. Beside him, Natalia types rapidly on her laptop. Dimitri sits next to Keisha in the back seat. Still watching. Still silent. They drive to a second location. Not the airport, but an industrial complex outside Frankfurt. Abandoned factories. Broken windows. The kind of place where conversations happen that no one records. The car stops. Vitor gets out. Natalia follows. Dimitri gestures for Keisha to exit. Her pulse hammers. Where are we? Problem solving, Vitor says. Inside the largest building, a man is tied to a chair. Middle-aged, balding, blood dripping from his nose. 2 of Vitor's men flank him. Vitor walks up to the man and speaks in Italian. Tell me again. Who did you contact? The man responds in broken Italian, begging. Vitor switches to Russian. Names. I want names. More begging. Then Vitor looks at Keisha. Translate. Every word. I want to make sure I understand him correctly. She steps forward. The man's eyes meet hers, terrified, pleading. He says he doesn't know names, she translates. He only passed documents to a contact in Vienna. Someone promised him money. Protection. How much money? The man speaks. Keisha translates. 50,000 euros. Vitor laughs, cold, empty. 50,000. You sold me out for the cost of a decent car. He nods to one of his men. The gunshot echoes off concrete walls. The man slumps forward. Keisha's ears ring. Blood spreads across the floor, black in the dim light. Vitor wipes his hands with a handkerchief. Slow, deliberate. Translations matter. Keisha. You said he didn't know names. But I heard him say a name. Very clearly. In Russian. Her blood turns cold. He said Chun. Vitor continues. Marcus Chun. Former FBI. The man you sent recordings to 3 days ago. He steps closer. Did you think I wouldn't intercept your mail? Did you think I wouldn't check every communication? She can't breathe. The package reached him, Vitor says. But before it did, I knew about it. And now Marcus Chun is having a very bad week. Federal agents raiding his apartment, finding evidence that he's been taking bribes from organized crime. Funny how evidence appears when you know where to plant it. Tears burn behind her eyes, but she won't let them fall. You try to play spy, Vitor says. But you're not a spy. You're a linguist, just like your father. And just like him, you'll learn that some translations come with permanent consequences. He nods to Dimitri. Dmitri grabs her arm. Wait, she gasps. You're not being killed, Vitor interrupts. That would be wasteful. You're being relocated. Same facility as your father. You can translate together. A family reunion. No, please. Should have stayed a waitress, Vitor says. Then to Dmitri. Take her. Flight leaves in 2 hours. Dmitri drags her toward the door. She struggles, but he's twice her size and trained for this. Then, glass shatters. Red dots appear on Dmitri's chest. Federal police. Hands up. The warehouse explodes with movement. Men in tactical gear pour through broken windows, doors, holes in the ceiling. Shouting in German. Boots on concrete. Weapons raised. Dmitri releases her and reaches for his gun. 3 shots. He drops. Keisha falls to her knees, hands over her head, the world spinning around her. Vitor stands frozen, hands raised, his face twisted with fury and disbelief. An agent grabs Keisha, pulls her to her feet. Are you Keisha Novik? She nods, unable to speak. Come with me. Now. They drag her outside into blinding daylight. Police cars everywhere. Helicopters overhead. Agents handcuffing Vitor, Natalia, the others, and standing by an unmarked van, wearing a bulletproof vest over a rumpled suit. Marcus Chun, older than she remembers. Grayer, but alive. He walks toward her. Your recording worked. We've been building the case for 3 days. Just needed to catch him in the act. The dead man. Undercover agent. Blank rounds. Fake blood. All staged to make Vitor reveal his network. Marcus smiles grimly. You did good, kid. Your father would be proud. Her knees give out. Marcus catches her. We're raiding Facility 12 right now, he says. Bratislava team moved in 20 minutes ago. If your father's there, we'll get him out. She can't breathe. Can't think. The world tilts and spins in. Breathe, Marcus says. It's over. You won. But she knows it's not over. Not yet. Because Vitor is being handcuffed, but he's staring at her with an expression that promises this is just the beginning. When justice finally arrives, does it feel like victory, or just the start of a longer war? Let us know below. Rain hammers the alley behind Il Trionfo. 3 weeks since Frankfurt. 3 weeks since federal agents dismantled Vitor's empire piece by piece. Accounts frozen, shipments seized, associates arrested from New York to Zurich. But Vitor himself vanished during transport. Escaped custody somewhere between Frankfurt and The Hague. Interpol issued warrants. Airports went on alert. And Keisha received a message yesterday. Meet me where it started. Midnight. Come alone. Where your father pays. VM. Now she stands in the alley where she used to take smoke breaks between shifts. Rain soaking through her coat. A gun borrowed from Marcus weighing heavy in her pocket. She's not alone. Marcus has agents positioned on rooftops. Snipers. Surveillance. But she insisted on being the one standing here, exposed, visible. Because Vitor was right about one thing. One is sharper than fear. And she wants this finished. Footsteps echo on wet pavement. A figure emerges from shadows. Vitor, but diminished. No expensive suit. No cigar. Just a man in a worn jacket and 3 weeks of running. He stops 10 feet away. You came. You threatened my father. Your father is safe. Federal custody. Prague hospital. Malnourished and traumatized, but breathing. Vitor's smile is bitter. I lost that leverage. Lost everything, actually. Thanks to you. You lost it yourself. Did I? He steps closer. Rain drips from his hair. I built an empire on words. Contracts. Translations. Agreements made in languages most people don't understand. And you destroyed it with the same tools. You destroyed people. My father. Countless others. I employed them. Fed them. Gave them purpose. His eyes burn with something between fury and admiration. But you played the game better than your father ever did. He tried to serve 2 masters. You pretended to serve one while gutting him from the inside. Red laser dots appear on his chest. He doesn't flinch. Tell your friends to stand down. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to give you something. I don't want anything from you. Not for you. For your father. He pulls an envelope from his jacket. Slowly, carefully. Documents. Proof that he was working undercover for Interpol when I took him. Proof he never betrayed anyone except me. Clear his name. He deserves that much. He tosses the envelope at her feet. She doesn't pick it up. Why? Because I lost. And I'm old enough to admit when I've been beaten by someone better. His smile returns grim, empty. You remind me of myself 40 years ago. Hungry, smart, willing to risk everything for people you love. I'm nothing like you. Not yet. He takes another step. The red dots track his movement. But give it time. Keep working with people like Marcus Chun. Keep translating for governments and agencies. You'll learn what I learned. Everyone lies in every language. The only difference is who profits from the lie. You're wrong. Am I? He spreads his hands. You recorded me. Manipulated me. Let me think I was winning while you fed information to federal agents. You played the game, Keisha, and you played it perfectly. Silence stretches between them. Rain fills it. Then Marcus's voice crackles through the earpiece hidden in her collar. We have clear shot. Say the word. Keisha stares at Vitor, this man who stole 6 years of her life, who imprisoned her father, who built an empire on suffering. Go, she says. Vitor blinks. What? Go. Disappear. Live whatever life you have left knowing you lost to a waitress who spoke 12 languages. Her voice stays steady. That's your punishment. Not a bullet. Not a prison. Just the knowledge that you were beaten by someone you underestimated. His expression shifts. Surprise, confusion, then understanding. Keisha, what are you doing? Marcus's voice in her ear, sharp with concern. But she ignores him. Go, before I change my mind. Vitor stares at her for one long moment. Then he nods slowly. You're more dangerous than I thought. He turns and walks back into shadows. The red dots follow him, then disappear as he vanishes around a corner. Marcus bursts from a doorway, agents behind him. What the hell was that? We had him. No, Keisha says quietly. We had revenge. But revenge isn't justice. He'll disappear. We'll never find him. I know. She picks up the envelope, water soaking through paper. But my father gets his name back. And Vitor lives knowing he lost everything to someone he laughed at. Marcus stares at her, then shakes his head. You're either a genius or insane. Maybe both. She walks past him, out of the alley, into rain-soaked streets where Manhattan pulses with life. Thousands of voices speaking hundreds of languages, building bridges and weapons with the same words. And somewhere in the noise, she hears her father's voice from years ago. Learn to tell the difference. She's learning. When you have your enemy cornered, is mercy strength or weakness? Tell us what you think. 6 months later, a university lecture hall in Prague. Afternoon sunlight slants through tall windows, casting geometric patterns on wooden floors. Keisha stands at the podium, 30 students watching her with varying degrees of attention. She's teaching intermediate Russian today, verb conjugations, case systems, the architecture of a language built from centuries of conflict and beauty. Her father sits in the back row, thinner than before, but healing. He spent 2 months in a hospital, another 3 in physical therapy. The nightmares still wake him most nights. But he's here, alive, free. She finishes the lesson and dismisses the class. Students file out, chattering in Czech and English. Her father waits until they're alone, then approaches. You were good, he says in Russian. Clear, patient. I learned from the best. He smiles, but sadness lingers in his eyes. I am sorry. For everything. For disappearing. For making you search. For Papa. She takes his hand. You did what you had to do. So did I. They walk through Prague's old streets together. Cobblestones worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, buildings painted in pastels, the river flowing beneath ancient bridges. Marcus called yesterday, her father says. He asked if you'd consider consulting work. Translation for federal cases. Good pay. Important work. What did you tell him? That you should decide for yourself. He stops, looking at her seriously. But I'll tell you what I think. Once you start working in shadows, it's hard to find your way back to light. She considers this. The past 6 months, she's rebuilt her life. Teaching, writing, using languages to connect people instead of destroy them. But she still keeps the gun Marcus gave her. Still checks locks twice before sleeping. still wakes, sometimes with her heart racing. Certain Vitor is standing in the corner. I don't know if I want that life, she says finally. Then don't choose it. Her father squeezes her hand. You've already proven you can survive darkness. Now prove you can live in light. They walk in comfortable silence. Church bells ring the hour. Tourists photograph castles. Normal life flows around them like water around stones. Her phone buzzes. Text from unknown number. Coffee in Vienna next month? Have something you might find interesting. VM. She stares at the message. Deletes it. Blocks the number. But she knows he'll find another way to reach her. Men like Vitor don't disappear. They just change languages. Everything okay? Her father asks. Everything's fine. And in this moment, it is. The sun is warm. Her father is beside her. She's teaching languages to students who will use them to build bridges, not burn them. She thinks about power, how it speaks loud, how justice whispers, how silence isn't weakness, it's strategy, how the quietest voices sometimes change empires while the loud ones destroy themselves. That evening, she sits by the river with a notebook. She writes in 12 languages, one sentence each, saying the same thing in different words. I survive by learning when to speak and when to stay silent. Both are power. Both are weapons. The difference is intent. She closes the notebook and watches the river flow. Somewhere upstream, water begins as rain on mountains. Down here, it carries boats and reflects city lights and flows toward seas it will never see but always reaches. Language is like that. Starting somewhere small, a child learning words from a parent. Then growing, changing, carrying meaning across borders and centuries and human hearts that beat in every tongue. Her father was right. Words build bridges or weapons. She's choosing bridges now, but she keeps the knife in her purse, just in case. Because some lessons stay with you. Some scars don't fade. And the girl who destroyed a Mafia empire by speaking 12 languages knows something the rest of the world forgets. The quietest voices are often the most dangerous. Not because they shout, but because people listen. If this story moved you, if it made you think about the power of words and the strength of silence, do us a favor. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We have more stories coming, stories that inspire, challenge, and remind us that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when pushed to the edge. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Tell us about a time you felt underestimated or a moment when your skills surprised everyone around you. Your words might inspire someone else who needs to hear them. And if you believe in quiet justice, in people who fight back not with violence, but with intelligence and patience, share this story with someone who needs to remember. Silence isn't weakness. Sometimes, it's the sharpest weapon of all. We'll see you in the next story. Until then, remember, power speaks loud. But justice? Justice whispers. And whispers can change the world.